So a very, very, very warm welcome to all of you and welcome to the class today. I am Ridma Bhatia and we have been discussing in detail your favorite section, PGBP, favorite topic, profit and gain of business or profession. So up till now, we have covered roughly 3 classes where Mota Mati, if I have to say, regarding the computation provisions, we have covered it all now. What you have to consider while computing the business profits or the business income, you have to be very mindful of the question, whether it's from individual perspective, partner's perspective, firm perspective, or company perspective, and then the provisions can be applied. Though throughout the act, abhi tak there has been no variation that this is only for individual or HF. Some details, yes, some particular types of deductions are there only for companies. So just think carefully while doing a particular type of adjustment. Mark that these are all the trigger points in relation to it, and then you will be good to go. So as we always do, if there is any doubt before we proceed to the topics today, today's topic would be more about what do you say, technical, theoretical analysis, practical point of view, say we are all sorted by now. So before we proceed, please let me know if there's any doubt. Yeah, Jeannie, how are you?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Very good evening. Yes.
मैम एक्चुअली केस लॉ जो है केस लॉ नंबर 10 उसमें फिजिबिलिटी स्टडीज के बारे में बोला गया फिजिबिलिटी स्टडीज मींस व्हाट
Feasibility studies क्या होती है कि if you are entering into any project or entering into any big investment related work जहाँ पे आपका capital लगना है, you first do a market survey, you do understanding that whether the products which I'm getting, whether it would be feasible or not, achievable or not, उसको मिल पाएंगे मुझे या नहीं, वो सब होता है feasibility.
ओके मैम थैंक यू
Okay, और questions में कोई doubt?
मैम एक्चुअली मेरा टेस्ट नॉलेज का थोड़ा सा क्वेश्चंस बाकी है इसीलिए अभी मैं
No
पूछ नहीं
worries, no worries. I'm here only. Don't worry about that.
थैंक यू
Vignesh, Mamta, Anila, any doubt otherwise?
Ma'am, sorry to disturb. Actually, I could not attend Zoom live classes, but I just saw the recording. In that, some pages explanation were missing. I don't know whether you did not explain it or there was error in uploading it. After
Which
this same chapter, ma'am, that set
huh?
order set of those things are there in textbook actually.
Yeah.
Compensate income after this income explanation, charging section, I guess. Some portion of pages are not explained, but I don't know
Yeah.
whether
So
it is
that so basically that's speculation business and ICDS that I told that I would be taking in the last class.
okay. But those pages will be explained. That recording is full.
No, no,
There is
no.
no
So it would
issue.
be so we have 5 parts of PGBP, 5 sessions of PGBP. Though we are going line wise only, as in chronology wise only, but those 2 topics, since though they are important, but they are technical and would be better understood once you have a knowledge of PGBP in entirely.
Okay, okay,
So
fine.
once all of these topics are covered, in the next class we'll pick up them.
Okay, ma'am. Because I was going through the recorded session, I thought I missed something in recording, so I just asked.
No, no,
Thank
all
you, ma'am.
okay.
Thank you.
But otherwise, whatever you've gone through, any doubt?
No, ma'am. Until now, it's fine. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Mamta, Vignesh, I hope you people are preparing your notes also and preparing and highlighting those things that these are the points to remember specifically in these sections. Okay, then. So, shall we start for the today's class now? Great. So the drill remains the same. If you understand something or if you don't understand something, please, you can raise your hand, drop in the query on Zoom or on your BOS portal link, and we can take it up. And also, please participate after each section, whether it is clear or not. Okay. So now, till now, if I have to talk, second. Yeah. So back to this very badly drawn list of provision. Yeah, Ginny, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. In the last lecture, I have asked you the question number 8 related.
Yes. I'll take it up in the next class. Don't worry. The
Okay.
telecom one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I remember. I'll take up that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So, up till now, if I have to tell you along with this, just quickly revising what has been done on the computation pieces. Whenever you're doing a computation question, obviously you have to start understanding from section 28. Why section 28 is important to read? I'll not say read the definition of income, but read specifically the charging sections off and again for all the heads of income. Why? Because most of the answers lie there only. Section 28 mein there is an entire list of incomes which are chargeable under the head PGBP. So in case there is any income which you see in your big question, which full 16-mark question would be coming, and you see that any of such income is not included in your PNL, please always include that income in your PNL. That charging section, the reading will help you that. Then we move forward and then we have the list of the reduction starting from 30 to 38, basically it is 30 to 37. उसमें सबसे never ever forget 30 is for building, 31 is for machinery, rents, rate, taxes, etc. And 32 is for depreciation. Then depreciation maybe do not forget to give additional depreciation whenever a manufacturing question is coming. So this is always you have to highlight, plus all the conditions, second hand nahi hona chahiye and stuff. And then you move forward and then you move forward to these sections which are only for relevant SSCs or relevant business. These are for tea, coffee, rubber development, and site restoration. Logics are same 40%, 20% limit, and you have to use as per the scheme. There are one or two examples specifically for T1 in the test your knowledge question. Please solve it. Then you move forward and then you come to section 35, which is scientific research. This is a very important section. Why? From the perspective earlier, it used to be more important because the reduction was allowed was more than the expenditure, but now it's 100%. So remember, if any donation contribution is there given to an outside party, not taken in PNL, it is allowed as in the PNL, even if it is not related to business. Not related to business can be given to you to confuse you so that you disallow such thing, but it does not matter. And in-house research may always includes capital expenditure for deduction. Then you move forward and you come to your 35 ADA. This is also another important section which is for specified business. Here, remember the businesses, go through the list of businesses very carefully and remember the condition in relation to capital expenditure deductions and the machinery deduction, that second-hand machinery is not allowed. It is allowed, but up to 20%. Here, second-hand machinery is not allowed at all. It is allowed. So wherever you get such confusions, please go through them again. Whenever you're doing section 32, you have to do section 43, which is cost of acquisition or the actual cost of the asset carefully. 35 AD maybe. Remember, there is 10K ka point here also, that 10K se zyada capital expenditure in cash in a single day would not be allowed. Then you move ahead to a list of your telecom. टेलीकॉम में लाइसेंसिंग का amortization है. Very rarely a question come. You can just go through the lecture once and do one question. That would be more than suffice. But if on a hard luck, maybe a case study can come from it or a 5-marker question can come from it. Then you move ahead and then there is this skill training projects, agriculture projects, and I think one more rural extension project, something like that. So these three, just give a list and remember that there are these particular sections. Then this is important, which is 35D. Amortization, all of these 1, 2, 3 expenditures are allowed in 5 years. Basically, one installment each every year is allowed 1/5, and 5 years में the expenditure is allowed. Amalgamation, amortization, amalgamation, and voluntary retirement. Okay. Then section 36 में there is this entire list which goes on from insurances to bonus to employer contributions to employee contributions and mark-to-market loss and all those important stuff. Then you move forward and then you come to section 37. Here you remember most of the case laws, if any, would be from this particular section, because here your understanding of business expenditure is important. What is actually a business expenditure? What qualifies to a business expenditure? That is important. So please remember, in all these lists, any of the expenditure which is not covered from here to here would be covered under section 37. This is all the allowances. Then you move on to the disallowances wala section. 40 small a, clause then 3, 4, 5. All of these are in relation to TDS, equalization levy, tax on monetary perquisites. Please go through them carefully. Then 40A, there is a list which starts from 48.2, 48.3. Important one. These all are very important. 48.7 gratuity, 48.9 for employer contribution. So do not forget to go through this list also. Okay, this is your cash wala and this is your related parties wala. Then 43B, always, no one would tell you that you have to apply 43B. Whenever you're doing a question in relation to 36 specifically, 43B has to be seen again and again. There is also 40B, which talks about partners remuneration and members remuneration, how the allowances and disallowances work. Sorted. Was all we did. Today we'll start with section 41. Then we'll move on to 43A, 43AA. 43B is already done. 43C, CA, CB, CD, let's see. And then we'll go to the important one, tax audits, maintenance of books, presumptive incomes. एक बारी go through. ये sorted, clear? This is how you have to remember the sections also. Perfect. Now, when we move to section 41, now what are these? These are profits chargeable to tax. Now, these are certain types of receipts which you will see would be always your business income, irrespective of the fact whether business income is continuing or not. Most of them we have already touched in certain provisions. This we will be covering now. So, if any income has to be deemed, then it would be covered here. So, deeming, इसको कुछ लोग deemed income sections भी section कहते हैं PGBP. Okay. Now, first section here is 41, subsection 1, remission or cessation of trading liability. Suppose I have claimed certain expenditure as deduction. Okay? Suppose electricity expense, or suppose I have claimed a purchase at deduction and I have written 1 lakh purchase to be given to a creditor. Okay? But with time, I did not pay it, or I somehow creditor missed it, I missed it, whatever. So the liability which was mine to pay, I did not pay it, right? In a way, this is a benefit. I have taken a expenditure ka deduction and now I do not have to pay it back. Now I do not have to pay it back. So that part, the deduction which was claimed earlier, has to be reversed and now has to be treated as income, because deduction क्यों था? Because there was kharcha. Right? Why did I claim the next deduction? Because there was an expenditure in relation to it. But now, and that expenditure resulted in liability. But now that liability is not to be paid. So that means expenditure should not be claimed. So that liability will get cessated. That means now it is no more required to be paid. That liability now would be treated as income. But important thing you have to remember is that in relation to those aspects, at least you have taken a deduction earlier in your P&L account. Then only you will reverse it back. No matter if the business is closed, you are not counting it. If the trading liability is not to be paid, then it has to be reversed back and treated to as income. Suppose I've claimed electricity expenditure of 20,000 rupees as deduction, but now I do not have to pay that 20,000 rupees. So that would be treated as deemed income. This can come as your adjustment in a big question. Just like this part, another part which we have already covered is 41, subsection 4. Where is 4? Okay, this is already covered there. 41 subsection 4, which is in relation to recovery of bad debts. So when we were doing bad debts, remember, when any expense or when any debtor goes bad, we treat it as expenditure and deduction is allowed under section 36, correct? But now if the recovery happens, again, after it gets bad and you have written it off, you have claimed the expenditure, the recovery happens, then it goes under the deemed income section. subsection 41 subsection 4. Sorted? अच्छा, इसमें एक और चीज, a lot of people ask, ma'am, what about writing off of loan? If any loan is written off, then what will happen? Obviously, if a loan is written off and it's a capital asset related loan, it would not be required to be treated as income. But if it's a working capital loan, then there has been a lot of cases and a lot of judgment where they say कि working capital loan hai, that means it has been used for the daily expenditure of the business. That means somehow anywhere it would have been claimed. And now if working capital loan does not need to be repaid back, so that should be treated as income. So can I say a working capital loan can be, if not to be paid or if waived, that can be treated as income, assuming that all the money of the working capital is ultimately put into the regular revenue expenditures of the company. Okay. And what else? Government loans. If there are government loan का अगर drawback होता है या कुछ होता है या waive होता है, that anyway is treated as your income under section 28. Okay. Now coming to 41.1 clear, 41.4 clear. 41.2 is relation to balancing charge. Now, when we were doing this, I told you terminal depreciation and balancing charge, दो चीज आया था, and I told you, sorry, 41.2 is relation to balancing charge, and I told you that I will pick this particular topic later. Let's go back in time. Now, these both are same topic. Now, first of all, this is only for your electricity undertaking, basically who are into power generation and power distribution and who use SLM method for depreciation. So remember at the first class I told you when you're doing depreciation, SLM is only allowed for electric companies who are into power generation distribution business, right? So when they are following SLM method, what will happen if they sell the asset? That is this particular case about. So simple such चीज है, there would be actual cost, there would be written down value, and there would be the sale price, right? Now suppose the actual cost of asset is 80. Every year through SLM, 8 is written off. 8 is written off as depreciation. So suppose after 2 years, the written down value would be 64. Right? 80 minus 8 1 year and then minus 8 2 year. Right? Now suppose I sell that asset. So generally हम क्या करते हैं? Section 50 we apply, from the block we remove, and that is how we do, right? But when we are talking about an SLM based asset, this is how we treat the income. How we treat the income? Suppose I'm selling that asset. There can be 3 situations where the sale price is less than WDV. Situation 1, which we pick up, say, 60. Situation 2, where the sale price is more than WDV, but less than actual cost. And situation 3, where the sale price is more than WDV and naturally more than actual cost also. बस यही 3 situations हो सकते हैं, correct? So whenever the sale price is more than WDV, यानी 64 rupees का value बचा है, we are selling it for 60. So the remaining 4 would now is वैसे you treat it as your short-term capital gain, etc. Here we don't use that concept. Here we use the concept if the sale price is more than the written down value but less than the actual cost, this 4 rupees is treated directly as an income, deemed income, and is called balancing charge and is treated as deemed income under section 41 subsection 2. ठीक है? Sorry, it is more. Why I'm treating it as more? My bad. Sorry, my bad. Sorry. 60, I was taking this as the WDV. Right, sorry. So where the WDV is more than the sale price, you had a asset of 64 rupees. You sold it for 60. That means 4 rupees, which is now the net impact is treated as terminal depreciation. Terminal depreciation. And this is treated as a direct expenditure in your revenue account. So 4 would be treated as terminal depreciation and would be allowed as expenditure. Yani terminate karte time, whatever the value is left to depreciate, you go there directly and treat it as a expenditure in your revenue account. Here, when I've sold an asset for 70, where the return on value was 64, this 6 rupees, this 6 lakhs or 6 crore, whatever you want to take, this the difference of 6 is treated as balancing charge as a deemed income under section 41 subsection 2. ठीक है, इसको instead of calling capital gain or business profit or something, you term it as balancing charge, a charge to balance out the impact of the return on value on the sale price. But यहाँ पे interestingly, what will happen? In situation 2, you have sold an asset at a higher price than return on value at 100 rupees, but it is also higher than the actual cost. So remember, income, anything like this come now. You will see it in scientific research or you will see this in telecom also. Anything like this comes. Remember, actual cost के ऊपर whenever I'm selling actual cost के ऊपर, it can never be a part of my business income. Why? Because only cost is allowed as deduction of depreciation as wear and tear over the years, and only that is reduced from the P&L. The impact of which has never been gone to P&L, how can I reverse it back and treat it as income when I'm selling it? जिसका impact कभी P&L में गया ही नहीं, उसको मैं income कैसे treat कर लूं, right? So any time when you are selling an asset over and above the actual cost, that always is treated as capital gain. So that means the difference, though you will see, everyone please pay your attention here. Though here you are seeing that the gain is of 36. Correct? But now you have to break it up into 20 would be capital gain because anything over and above actual cost cannot be a part of business income. And the difference of the actual cost and the return on value would be your balancing charge again here, which is my PGBP income. Reversing the actual cost impact, and 16 would be balancing charge. So this is my PGBP income and 20 is my capital gain income. 36 को ऐसे break किया. ठीक है? Got it? Any doubt? In the concept of balancing charge and terminal depreciation, this only comes when SLM method is used for electrical companies, which is into power generation and distribution business. You want to note this example? Please note it, you can write it, whatever. So 41 1 clear, 41 2 clear, and 41 4 clear. Now we move ahead to 41 3. (41.3) talks about sale of asset for scientific research. I'm writing SR, scientific research. अब scientific research में एक asset use किया. There can be two possibilities. First of all, what is the situation when you use an asset for scientific research? It is allowed as deduction. The capital expenditure is allowed as deduction under section 34, right? Under section 35, you get the deduction. Now, when you're selling that asset, whenever you are selling that asset, there can be two situations that you were using it for scientific purpose and now directly you are selling it without using it for any other purpose. Or second situation is that now you're using it for your normal business purpose. scientific research is over and now I've used that same machinery for my normal business purpose. Okay. Now, when the scientific research, and then I sell it. Okay. Now, when the scientific research asset is used for only scientific purpose and then discarded or transferred, in that case, deemed income arises. Deemed income arises under section 41, subsection 3, and whatever is the sale price or whatever deduction you claimed earlier under section 35, whichever is lower would be treated as income. Whichever is lower would be treated as income. But here also you have to remember the same thing, that if the sale price is more than the actual cost, then you have to take the impact into capital gain. एक बात को यहाँ पे let's relate. Yeah, I told you under section 35 AD, when you sell an asset which is used for specified business, which is used for specified business, and you are directly selling it. You are directly selling it without using it for your other branch of business. Then whatever the income was treated as PGBP income, but that was treated as per section 28, because section 28 में it is written. But sale of scientific research का asset की वजह से, without using it for any other purpose, if you are having any income, that is also treated as PGBP income, but that is treated as per section 41 subsection 3. So section variation is also important. दोनों part में income treat हो रहा है, but वहां पे income is getting treated on the sale price. ठीक है, there is no deduction वाला concept. यहाँ पे the income is treated at the sale price or comparing it with the deduction, whichever is lower. Deduction कौन सा, which you claimed as the capital expenditure deduction. So this is how you have to variate, because इतना सारा चीज होगा, so you have to compare it again and again. कि scientific research का sale I'm reading, अच्छा there was something similar to specified business also. Where is that? Go back, take 2 minutes, go back and refresh your concept. And normal business purpose के लिए use हो रहा है, तो simple है. This we read while we were doing section 43, if you can recall. Explanation to section 43, where we saw that when you are what has to be treated as the actual cost in the written down in the block of the asset. Actual cost क्या लेंगे in the block of the asset, and sold that if first explanation was this only, that when an asset used for scientific research is now being brought to normal business purpose, then the actual cost to be added in the block, it's nil, is always nil, or basically the amount of the cost minus the reduction claim, which in most cases is the same thing, right? The amount of the or the cost of the asset purchase minus the reduction claim, which would be, obviously you will be claiming 100% reduction, so that would be nil only. So actual cost to be added in block would be nil. And now once you have added in block at a zero value, once you sell it, वो तो फिर block concept लगेगा, and उसके according you will see. Simple. ठीक है. So 41.3 clear? This is sale of scientific research asset. So repeat after me. 41.1 में there is cessation of liability. 41.2 में there is balancing charge. 41.3 में sale of scientific research capital assets. 41.4 में bad debt recovery, and 41.4A now withdrawal from reserves created. Reserves created कौन सा? जो section 36 subsection 1 clause 7 में allowed होता है, only to banking finance companies and all, where special reserve में if they transfer up to 20% they get. Remember, वो वाला transfer is allowed as deduction. So if the withdrawal is happening, that would be treated as income. That would be treated as income, because profit में से reduce हुआ. अब जब उसको, while you were transferring it, when you are withdrawing it, naturally it would be treated as income. But remember, this is only when you have claimed the deduction on transferring. If you have not claimed the deduction on transferring, then the point of treating it as income does not arise. Perfect. एक पॉइंट बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है या यस
मैम इन सेक्शन
ममता यस
यस मैम
हाँ जी
in second point, sale of scientific research assets,
हाँ
sale of capital assets used for scientific research. In
हाँ
second point also, and third point also, sale of scientific assets of scientific research. Is there any difference?
थर्ड पॉइंट पे सेल ऑफ साइंटिफिक रिसर्च नहीं है सी 41.2 is balancing charge 41.3 is sale of capital asset used for scientific research 41.4 is recovery of bad debts and 41.4a is withdrawal from reserve
Okay, ma'am. My mistake. My mistake.
no worries no worries now एक point है where they have given a very sort of a benefit अब I'm telling you these liabilities would be these incomes or these receipts would be chargeable even if the business is closed still they would be charged as deemed income so government said that okay suppose your business is closed still this would be charged at deemed income so suppose when your business got closed at that time if you had any unabsorbed loss that time if you had any unabsorbed loss you can set it off from these business incomes you can set it off from these deemed incomes which come under section 41 and even if the business is not working, even if that 8-year period has expired, still at the time of closing the business, if you had any unabsorbed loss standing, you can set them off from these particular deemed income. So this is a sort of a relief given by the income tax authority that when we are charging the receipts, even after the business is closed, then we should technically allow you those losses also to set off if they are standing off. Okay. So now we move ahead 42, I'm specifically not picking up. To section 43A. Changes in rate of exchange of currency. There is 43A and there is 43AA. So shall we begin? Okay. Now, both of these particular sections are in relation to your foreign exchange fluctuations. That what will happen in case of any foreign exchange fluctuations, that there is no other problem here, though we have ICDS also in relation to it. But more or less, these particular sections are in the same line. The foreign exchange fluctuations come only when you have any foreign exchange type of payment, suppose, and there can be two types. One is in relation to your capital asset, and one is in relation to your revenue expenditures, right? A capital asset may suppose I have purchased a particular asset today on say 1st June, or only the invoice is created when the US dollar was say 80 rupees. Now, after 1 month, it got dispatched from USA when the US dollar was say 81 rupees. Then when it arrived to India, the US dollar was 82 rupees. Then when it got to my premises, the US dollar was 83 rupees. Then when it got installed, the US dollar was 84 rupees. When it got put to use, the US dollar was 85 rupees. And when the final payment got settled, the US dollar was, say, 86 rupees. So, because when you are getting a machinery from USA, it is not something calling from Myntra and you are getting it delivered in 2 days or 3 days. It takes months and months to come, and the payments also takes months and months to settle. So now the question here is that how do you treat such fluctuations? How would you treat that fluctuation? Now, you saw there were so many incidences: invoice generation, dispatch, arrival, delivery at premises, put to use, installation, payment. So how one has to deal with the particular fluctuations. Now, as such, there is nothing given in the Income Tax Act and accounting standards. If you'll go and they do not provide any specific guidance in relation to it, that how you have to treat the actual cost of the asset, then what has to be seen? And there can be a difference between initial liability and your actual payment. अब सबसे पहले the question comes कि you can treat your actual cost at FIR basis, at a forward contract basis, or at whatever basis. If whatever basis पे you have to determine the value, FOB basis जो आपका होता है या CIF basis होता है, right? उस पे you can treat the value. But final adjustment have to be made to that actual cost of the asset at the time of payment. Payment के time पे whatever the final adjustment is coming, that you have to consider, and that has to be adjusted with your actual cost of the asset. Suppose I treated the capital asset in my books when the US dollar was 81. When the US dollar was 81. Now when I'm settling it, the US dollar went to 82. So now this, and the machinery was of say $10,000. So now this 10,000, the difference is a loss, right? Now extra 1 rupee per dollar I have to pay, right? So this would be adjusted in my actual cost of the asset only. This would be adjusted in my actual cost of the asset only. Similarly, suppose when I treated it as the asset, the US dollar was 80. But when I adjusted it again, the US dollar was 79 when the final payment got settled. So whatever the final payment ke basis pay, the treatment is happening, you have to adjust it in the actual cost as per section 43A. And 43AA talks about your revenue account fluctuations. Whenever you're making any revenue account payments, like your monetary items, non-monetary items, कुछ भी हो सकता है, purchase, sale, anything can be there. उसका loss and profit on the date of invoice and on the date of actual payment has to be routed through P&L. So can I say that foreign exchange loss would be allowed under 43AA? Yes. Can I say foreign exchange income would be treated under 43AA as fluctuation? Yes. Because fluctuations can be both positive and can be both negative. And both has to be treated through P&L. Revenue fluctuations through P&L, capital asset fluctuation to be adjusted in the actual cost. Simple. If the crux has to be seen. And this you will say कि ये तो हमें पता ही है. Yes, this you already know because this is something as a common sense thing. Just go through it once. But अब क्वेश्चन में कैसे ध्यान दोगे कि any foreign exchange fluctuation in relation to capital asset is not routed through P&L. If that is routed through P&L, you will remove it from the question of the profit, and then you will take the adjustment in the actual cost, and then you will calculate the depreciation accordingly. These points you have to remember. See, these provisions are just helping provisions which will impact your big question. So only if you're familiar with the impact of it, you would be able to do in the question. किसी को कोई डाउट? Perfect. Now we move ahead to another important section, which is your very important section 43CA. You must have studied about this section while capital gain, but now let's understand this. सिर्फ heading पढ़ूं अगर तो heading says stamp duty value of land and building to be taken at full value of consideration in respect of transfer, even if same are held by the transferor as stock in trade. So दो provisions आते हैं friends. एक होता है section 50C, which almost talks the same thing, and there is one section 43CA, which talks the same thing. Both talks about land and building. And why this section is important? Because there is a lot of black market dealing here, right? So to get the optimum value to the extent of the stamp duty value, these sections were introduced. दोनों सेम है बट फर्क क्या फर्क इज दैट यू हैव टू अप्लाई सेक्शन 50C when you are holding land and building as your capital asset, as your investment. You have to apply 43CA when you are holding land and building as your stock in trade. So in more cases than not, this particular section is applicable because we have seen everyone holding land and building as the stock, the capital asset. So these are when you are into real estate development and stuff. So now, कहते क्या है ये section? Let's understand that. Now, 43CA talks about a provision that you have to, your stamp duty value would be considered as your full value of consideration. If the actual cost is less than stamp duty value. Actual consideration is less than your stamp duty value. If your actual consideration is less than the stamp duty value, then instead of actual consideration, your stamp duty value would be considered as full value of consideration. This is what the provision of section 43CA talks about land and building when held as stock in trade. Jirin, this is for you. Okay, when held as stock in trade. When held as investment, it would be 50C. So, अब आप बोलोगे कि मैम इसका यूज क्या है बिकॉज जनरली एक्चुअल कंसिडरेशन को आप सेल प्राइस मानोगे राइट बट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस प्रोविजन you will consider stamp duty value as your sale price if the actual consideration is less than stamp duty value. If actual consideration is more than what is in the authorities book, then obviously nothing, no problem. आपने ज्यादा ही बताया है than what it should be, right? But technically, if we will not put any range or a safe harbor limit, then that would be wrong. Now, suppose karo, my stamp duty value is, say my actual consideration is 90 lakhs, but my stamp duty value is say 91 lakhs. अब आप बोलोगे कि this is excess, you should treat stamp duty value as the full value of consideration for the purpose of sale of stock in trade. Technically, yes, but they have included one safe harbor limit. Safe harbor limit किसको कहते हैं कि a safe range that okay, a variation within this range is allowed. A variation between this range is allowed. This would hold good only when if my stamp duty value is more than 110% of actual consideration. यानी अगर मेरी एक्चुअल कंसिडरेशन की 10% की रेंज में स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू है तो एक्चुअल कंसिडरेशन इज माय फाइनल फुल वैल्यू ऑफ कंसिडरेशन दैट मींस दैट हैज टू बी कंसिडर्ड एज अ सेल प्राइस बट इफ माय स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू क्रॉसेस दिस 10% range then stamp duty value has to be considered as actual consideration. For example, in this case actual consideration stamp duty value, okay? Case 1, you have to tell me full value of the consideration. Case 1 mein actual consideration is 90 lakhs, stamp duty value is 91 lakhs. What would be the full value of consideration? The actual consideration. The sale price, what full value of consideration would be the actual consideration 90. You have to consider yourself as transferor to understand. You are a real estate developer who is selling those properties. Because then only the business income would come. Take it? Because why 90? Because stamp duty value is within the 10% range. Actual consideration 90, stamp duty value 100 lakhs. Now full value of consideration would be 100 because it has crossed that 10% range. Next, actual consideration 90, stamp duty value 81. Then actual consideration has to be taken up. Then actual consideration has to be taken up. Less ke case mein there is no confusion. Confusion comes when it is more ka case. Very good, Jenny. Very good, Vignesh. ठीक है? So this is how you have to see. And this provision, my friend, you will see from the transfer perspective exactly same when they are under section 50C. Okay, and then you will see such provisions under section 56 to 10 also. But then you, from that perspective, you have to see when you are the recipient. उस केस में you would be the transferee. उस केस में you would be the transferee. There is again comparison of stamp duty value and actual consideration when you are doing section 194 IA, but वहां पे this 10% limit is not there. So I'm just telling you, if you have already gone through the lectures of other sections, if you have not, just stick to the business income wala. Don't get confused. I'm just telling for others if they are very pro and they have understood it. ठीक है? But एक problem आता है यहाँ पे. Here's one problem comes a lot of time. The problem which comes here under 43 CA is the stamp duty value when to be taken. Which stamp duty value has to be taken? So there are two, once a stage is where you make a sale agreement, the sale agreement is made, and one date is where you actually get the appointment of the registrar and then you go and get it registered. Okay, which is date of registration. A question may, there would be a date of sale agreement given to you, and question में the date of registration would be given to you. Now the question will ask, you will have कि stamp duty value दोनों का दिया होगा, इस date का भी, इस date का भी. तो if it is between a shorter period, in real life it does not impact. In real life it does not impact. Suppose sale of agreement का date is 10th July, date of registration is 11th July, 15th July. ऐसा variation does not happen. But suppose COVID time, agreement to sale happened on say 10th March. But registration ka date only came on say 20th July. So it can happen in this long period, the stamp duty value can change for the same property. It can happen, right? So अब इस क्वेश्चन में अब ये वाला डेट लेंगे या ये वाला डेट लेंगे? रजिस्ट्रेशन वाला डेट का स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू शुड आई पिक या सेल एग्रीमेंट वाले डेट का स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू शुड आई पिक? So when you are a genuine party, that is when you got intended that I have to make the sale, I have to do the sale. You had a genuine concern, everything was genuine, and you basically अब वो genuinity कैसे दिखाओगे? When you have made some sort of transfer to some sort of money has been given as the consideration on the date of on or before the date of sale agreement, then the date of sale agreement has to be picked. If no consideration was given on or before the date of sale agreement, then date of registration has to be picked. अगर कुछ sale consideration का part दे दिया on or before the date of sale agreement in any mode other than cash. Other than cash मतलब in mode through account pay check, account pay bank draft, electronic clearing system, prescribed electronic mode, then date of sale agreement. ठीक है? If not, then date of registration वाले दिन का stamp duty value. If not, अब जरूरी नहीं है the entire consideration should be paid on the date of sale agreement. Consideration is of say 90 lakhs. Even if you have paid 9 lakhs also, थोड़ा सा part भी, then also the date of sale agreement has to be considered to see the stamp duty value. But important is that it should not be paid in cash. It has to be paid without or other than mode in cash. Otherwise, date of registration would be taken. And फिर stamp duty value से compare करके you will come back to this step again. एक बारी you have to see कि कौन सा stamp duty value उठाना है. उसके बाद you come back to again comparing it with the actual consideration. So first step हो जाएगा अगर question में extra information दिया होगा to see which particular stamp duty value you have to pick. Yeah. Now, इसी में there is one more aspect which you have to consider is reference to valuation officer. A reference to valuation officer. Now, suppose the stamp duty value was 100 lakhs and you showed that actual consideration was 90 lakhs. Okay. Now, AO said ki no, stamp duty value is 100. We will make an addition of 10 lakhs rupees in your income and then we will close the case as per your 43CA provisions. You said ki maybe stamp duty value was 100 lakhs, but the fair market value, that is the value going into the market, was just 92. Why would he believe on you? So why would the assessing officer believe on you? What he will do is that he will transfer the case to the valuation officer. Now, first of all, it is on the assessing officer to transfer the case to valuation officer. He will transfer the case to the valuation officer. You cannot directly go to the valuation officer, and he will tell you determine the fair market value of so and so property based in so and so area on so and so date. Now, he determined the fair market value to be 92 lakh. So in this case, the final consideration, full value of consideration would be 92, not the 100 lakhs, not the 100 lakhs. Okay. Now it can, a reverse situation can also happen that 100 lakh stamp duty value thi, actual consideration 90 thi. You went to the valuation officer, as in the case went to the valuation officer, and he picked the fair market value as 106 lakhs. अब क्या करेंगे? Then what will do? In that case, it would stick to 100 only. In that case, it would stick to 100 only. So can I say ज़्यादा अगर गया stamp duty value से, तो stamp duty value has to be considered. Below the stamp duty value गया, then fair market value has to be considered. Below the actual consideration तो कभी नहीं जाएगा. Actual consideration is the bare minimum amount which you have to pick up as full value of consideration. This provision, students, are the check provisions so that the black money transactions can be curbed. So अगर आप actual consideration दिखा रहे हो, the stamp duty value below than that or the fair market value below than that will not impact. Impact will happen that when the market rates are going different and you are showing actual consideration less. And assessing officer think that something is fishy. Why someone is showing the actual consideration to be less? Why would someone sell an asset lower than the stamp duty value or the fair market value? That is when they have received something in black. So to curb those practices, this particular section is a check. Quickly go through case by case, example by example once. You have been given all the details here and see if the confusion is clear or not. Quickly. Clear? Sorted? Any doubt, anyone? Okay. So now we move ahead. Section 43 CB नहीं, ये हम ICDS के साथ समझेंगे. It would make more and more sense. Now we move to very, very important aspects. Compulsory maintenance of accounts. Now the list from 44AA, 44AB and presumptive taxation is all what is left from the very, very important aspects. Compulsory maintenance of books of accounts. अब students इसको हम कैसे समझेंगे? We will cover it up in A part, which is your specified professions. Spelling देख लेना, हाँ? Specified professions. B part, your individual HF SSC. Who are into maintenance of, who are into either business or non-specified professions. Non-specified professions, ठीक है? And part C, which is for the SSCs who are into other than individual HF, SSC who are into either the business or non-specified profession. ठीक है? अभी specified profession ना याद कर लो, because this particular part will help you in 44 AA, 44 ADA, 44 AB also, and even in your 194J. So please remember that there is certain specified provisions, professions, individual HF है, and other than individual HF for maintenance of books. See, maintenance of books के लिए 3 parts में I've divided, but I'm just telling you this list of specified profession will help you come handy in these sections also. 194J लिखा है, ठीक है? So अगर आप बोलो तो 194 वैसे तो, but these specific provisions, okay? So first of all, there are different, we are doing what? We are doing section 44 AA, which tells you compulsory maintenance of books of account, that you have to maintain books of accounts. Specifically, if your turnover is more or if something is more, let's understand that. सबसे पहले, the maintenance of books of account is compulsory for this notified professions or specified professions, which are on your screen, which you can see. Legal, legal, medical, engineering, architect profession, accountancy, technical consultancy और इंटीरियर डेकोरेशन. ठीक है? ये सब स्पेसिफिकली सेक्शन 44 AA में दिया हुआ. इसके अलावा दे राइट whatever is notified by CBDT, whatever is notified by CBDT. CBDT notified authorized representatives, film artist, company secretary and IT professionals. So total मिला के I think 11 है, which are the specified professions. The one which are written in the act and the one which were later notified. Ma'am, do we have to remember these professions? Technically, yes. You have to remember those professions, but how do you have to remember? See, first class में I told you the difference between professions and your business. ठीक है? अब professions में बहुत सा profession हो सकते हैं. Teaching is a profession, tuition is a profession, makeup artist is a profession. All of these are professions, right? Influencer is also a profession, but there is a notified specified professions which are legal, medical engineering, architect, accountancy, technical consultancy, interior decorator, authorized representative, film artist, and film artist में कब सब everyone involved in the film: actor, cameraman, director, music director, songwriter, editor, dancer, choreographer, basically, screenplay writer, dialogue writer, dress designer. ठीक है, कंपनी सेक्रेटरी एंड आईटी प्रोफेशनल्स. अब इसको याद कैसे करें? मैंने ऐसे याद किया था कि व्हेन वी आर इन दोस कॉमर्स वाला स्ट्रीम, वी हैव एन ऑप्शन ईदर टू गो फॉर, when you are in class 11th, either to go for medical, either to do engineering, either to do legal, either to do accounts, right? This is done. Then I remember it कि then there is architect. जो engineering करेगा, they have an option to become an architect. And otherwise, architects related interior decorator आ गया. ठीक है, you want to create any synonym with name, you can do it. This is done. Then accounts आया तो CS भी आएगा साथ में. ठीक है. Then जो इंजीनियरिंग में गए, इंजीनियरिंग बन सकता है, आर्किटेक्ट बन सकता है, आईटी प्रोफेशनल बन सकता है. ओके, एंड देन आई हैड टू रिमेंबर ओनली 3: फिल्म आर्टिस्ट, ऑथराइज्ड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव एंड टेक्निकल कंसल्टेंसी. दिस इज हाउ आई रिमेंबर. ठीक है. अब इन स्पेसिफाइड प्रोफेशंस के लिए कुछ लिमिट नहीं है. यू हैव टू मेंटेन योर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स नो मैटर व्हाट. यू हैव टू मेंटेन योर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स नो मैटर व्हाट. And you have to keep such books of accounts at a prescribed place where you are conducting your business, where you are conducting your business. Okay. Now, but what are the books of accounts I have to maintain? See, generally it is not specified. Generally, it is not specified. But for these specified professions, Rule 6F applies. Rule 6F gets applied, where they specifically say that if you are in a specified profession and if your turnover तो नहीं होता प्रोफेशन के लिए, ग्रॉस रिसीट्स वर्ड यूज होता है. If your gross receipt exceed 1,50,000 in all 3 years immediately preceding the previous year, then Rule 6F gets applied, and Rule 6F के according you have to maintain cash book, journal, ledger, invoices which you issue if the price is more, if the value is more than 25, invoices on expenditure if the value is more than 50, all of these things. Okay, and if you're into medical profession, then daily register of inventories, drugs, etc., and कौन आया, everything. ठीक है. These are written where? These are not written in your 44AA. This is written in 6F, and 6F is for specified profession. And specified profession में 6F gets applied when the gross receipts in all the 3 years exceed 1,50,000. If it does not exceed in all the 3 years 1,50,000, then you can maintain normal set of books of accounts which will help the AO to do your assessment proceedings if required. Okay? So list of books gets applicable only when you are into specified profession and the receipts cross 1,50,000 in all the 3 years. And अगर new business है, new business में if it is likely to exceed 1,50,000 in that year, then you will maintain these 6F के according books. एंड इसमें ऑल वर्ड पे फोकस करना है. तो स्पेसिफाइड प्रोफेशंस का बुक मेंटेनेंस क्लियर. एंड कितने पीरियड के लिए बुक मेंटेन करना होता है? मिनिमम 6 years फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ द रेलेवेंट असेसमेंट ईयर. ठीक है, उसके बाद यू कैन डिस्कार्ड. हाँ, बट अगर आपका असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग्स आर गोइंग ऑन या असेसमेंट हैज बीन रीओपन 147 में इट इज स्टिल गोइंग ऑन, देन यू हैव टू मेंटेन ऑब्वियसली फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर पीरियड. Let's see illustration 17. Illustration 17 says, we know this carrying on a profession as film artist. His gross receipts of professions are at under 21, 22, 22, 23 and 23, 24 में receipts are given. 2 साल में it is crossing 150, but first year it is not crossing. So what is his obligation regarding maintenance of books of accounts for assessment in 25-26 under 44AA? Now he will say that since he is into specified profession, he has to maintain the books. But Rule 6F में जो books लिखी हुई है, that is only applicable when you cross the cross receipt marks for all the 3 years. But since in this case you're not crossing that cross receipt marks, then you do not have to maintain those books as per 6F. But however, you are required to maintain the books, but those list is not applicable. And see guys, if theory question comes, this is how you have to attempt it. First, you have to write about the provision. Then you have to write the relevance of the question with the provision. And then you clearly have to write your conclusion. And if you think assumption another can be applied, just write it clearly then and there. Okay, so this is clear. इस case में you have to see the notified professions list and 6F का applicability. ठीक है? What about individual HFSSC and other than individual HFSSC? See, individual HFSSC के लिए obviously limit high दिया होगा ताकि maintenance of books of accounts तभी हो जब थोड़ा सा limit high हो, and other के लिए lower दिया हो. So for first we come to individual HF. They have to maintain the books of accounts if their income from PGBP, as in income from the business, exceeds exceeds 2,50,000 अगर business income. If business income की बात नहीं है, then either the total sales of gross receipts exceeds 25 lakhs. Now यहाँ पे in which year? In any one of the 3 years. 6F का applicability के लिए all the 3 years have to be seen. But now we are talking about individual HF either in business or non-specified profession. उस case में the applicability to maintain books of accounts, whether you have to maintain books of account, yes or no. Yes or no lies on seeing the turnover or the gross receipts. If it cross 25 lakhs in any of the 1-3 years, yes. Okay, 25 lakhs nahi cross kiya, but business income exceeds 2,50,000 in any of the 1 of the 3 years, yes. And newly business may likely to exceed in the current year. Or other than individual HF के लिए क्या है? The limit is comparatively lower. The business income, if exceeds 1,20,000 or the total sales turnover exceeds 10 lakh in any of the 3 immediately preceding accounting year. Or newly made when it is likely to exceed. There is 3, 4 also, which right now we will not touch. We'll come back to it again. So maintenance of books of account for specified profession is always yes. But which books have to be maintained? That is to be seen 6F. इसके लिए limit is there. Individual HF के लिए whether the books have to be maintained or not, then the limit is there. Your 2,50,000 for business income or total sales or turnover of 25 lakhs in any of the 3 years. And other than individual HF के लिए 1,20,000 business income या 10 lakh the turnover or the sales in any of the 3 years. And if the answer comes as yes, then you have to maintain those books which will help the SSC officer to compute your total income bus. अब वो those books कुछ भी हो सकती है based on your business profession. Simple. This is maintenance of books. The question is like generally question theoretical at your level comes very rarely, but now I hope the provision is clear. Any doubt up till now? Before we start the heavy provisions of tax audit and presumptive taxation, let's take a quick small break, go freshen up, and come back soon in 10 minutes. Where abhi tak we have done your balancing your deemed income and small provisions of 43 CA and what else we did? Majorly we have covered this only. Okay, so let's come back and 44 AA is done. We'll start with 44 AB all fresh. Thank you so much. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. So now we will be doing the provisions which are very important in relation to presumptive taxation and here maintenance of books. I hope abhi tak everyone is sorted and clear. Clear? Chalo. Now, thank you, Vignesh. What first should we pick? We first should pick with the presumptive taxation. Why presumptive taxation? Because then understanding 44AB is comparatively easier. Let's start about 44AD. See, there are a lot of presumptive taxation. There is, I hope you can see the screen. Yeah. There are a lot of presumptive taxation schemes. Presumptive taxation schemes सबसे पहले होता क्या है? Presumptive taxation schemes basically is where instead of maintaining books of accounts, instead of doing all that we have done till now, that is computing the income, considering all the allowances, disallowances from section 30 to 38 and disallowances from section 40 onwards to 43B, everything consider करके we come to a business income. इतना तो अभी तक you would have understood that computing business income is not an easy task. You need someone to help you guide all the allowances and disallowances if you're not a chartered accountant, or if you're not someone who's familiar with the provisions of the income tax, right? So that means if you are maintaining your books and if you have to compute business incomes, you really need a professional help. But government came up with easy schemes that without any fuss, we will give you chances that any business को इतना पता है कि what are their annual sales and annual turnover, right? So based on that, let's come up with certain schemes that based on that you give your profit. Instead of going through all maintaining the books and then from book profit coming to taxable profit, we don't go all through this. We just come up with a scheme where you give your certain percentage of total turnover as profit and we will tax that, and we will tax that without any question asked. Only thing we want is that you give your true turnover, uska certain percentage we will tax as profit. Now there are a lot of presumptive schemes. Some are percentage based, some are direct value based, which we will see. So there is presumptive schemes for residents under section 44AD, 44ADA and 44AE. Scheme for businesses, professions and good transport agency respectively. AD, ADA and AE. सब 44 की list में. Then there is a non-residents के लिए भी है. Obviously this particular section is for non-resident, also 44EE. But उसके अलावा shipping business, exploration business, airline companies, civil construction, ship crew business, which is newly added. All of these, there are for non-residents. That is covered in your non-resident C वाला module, which would be your I think non-resident taxation वाले chapter में, ठीक है? So अभी at this level, all are from PGBP only. All of these are for PGBP only, but the income tax of your particular modules of your study material has divided into resident wala covered under this chapter and non-resident wala has been covered under the different chapter. Okay, now coming to the resident wala 44AD, the most important one in fact, out of all. This is a presumptive taxation scheme for businesses, clearly businesses. Clearly business के लिए this 44AD is there. This particular scheme says that if you are a resident individual, HUF or a firm में LLP always included होता है, right? But this particular section excludes LLP. Excludes LLP. ठीक है? So if you're a resident individual, HUF or a firm, and you are doing a business, and you're not claiming any special deductions under section 10 AA, ATIA, ATRR, all of these, ठीक है? Then you can claim presumptive taxation. सबसे पहले तो eligible SSC कौन होगा? Resident is important. Individual HF firm but not LLP, not claiming 10 AA, ATIA, etc. ठीक है? And you are into business. A business मतलब कोई भी business. Profession से अलग, obviously. Profession is not a business. Business can be any business. Business of trading, manufacturing, does not matter. But businesses like 44 AE में जो covered है goods transport agency, that is excluded. ठीक है. Then agency business is excluded. Agency business क्या होता है? Agencies run करते हैं ना, जैसे कोई प्रोडक्ट ले लिया, उसकी एजेंसी रन कर रहे हैं, राइट? Then, or you are into commission or broker business. You are into a broker of real estate or someone like that. You are in a business, but these business are excluded. These business are excluded. ठीक है. 44 AE agency business, commission broker business ये नहीं है, and firm में LLP नहीं है, and all are resident. ठीक है. So companies के लिए 4480 नहीं होता, local authorities के लिए नहीं होता, only for these SSC. अब eligible SSC clear, eligible business clear. Next question which will come in your mind is the threshold limit to qualify. ऐसा तो नहीं है ना कि an individual having 100 crore turnover would be claiming this. No. The threshold limit is that if you have a turnover up to 2 crore. 2 crore in which year? यहाँ पे preceding years नहीं देखना. In the relevant year. Relevant financial year. If you have the turnover up to 2 crore, then you can claim 4480. This limit of 2 crore, I think previous Finance Act में was increased to 3 crore. Was increased to 3 crore. If this limit of 3 crore would apply instead of 2 crore, if your cash receipt is up to 5% of total turnover. Total receipts. Yeah, say 5% of total turnover of gross receipts. If your cash receipt is up to 5% of total turnover gross receipts, then the limit is 3 crore. Otherwise, the general limit is 2 crore. So 2 crore तक तो कोई भी 44 AD can claim, but 3 crore तक भी 44 AD can be claimed, but then you have to prove that your cash receipts are up to 5% of the total turnover gross receipts. अब इसमें एक क्वेश्चन बहुत बार आते हैं that cash receipt, suppose if I made a sale ma'am in March, अब हो सकता है March 25, I can receive it in cash later stage पे, तो how would we say कि 5% पे achieve हुआ या नहीं? So this cash receipts, whatever is realized basically up to the date of return filing, उस basis पे you will see whether of the total receipts you have 5% in cash or not. So basically, if you are promoting digitalization and digital economy, then you will get a higher turnover. Simple. Turnover is also clear. Any doubt on turnover? No. Next question is, what is the presumptive income? So the presumptive income directly, that is the PGBP income here. आपको कुछ नहीं करना. You don't have to go through all these 3-4 classes which we did. You simply have to come that whatever is your turnover, उसका 8% or 6% of the turnover would be your business profits. 8% or 6%, and realization वाला concept यहाँ पे लगा सकते हैं. अब 6% कब and 8% कब? I'll tell you. 8% for all those receipts which are in cash basically, and 6% or for all those receipts which are in non-cash. अब याद नहीं करना, सिंपल है. लोअर द प्रॉफिट बेटर फॉर द एसएससी. सो लोअर वाला प्रॉफिट कब लगेगा? व्हेन नॉन कैश रिसीट्स आर देयर. हायर वाला रेट कब लगेगा? व्हेन कैश रिसीट्स आर देयर. For the same turnover, you will divide what is the cash receipts, what are the non-cash receipts, and based on that, 8% and 6% would apply. Cash turnover and non-cash turnover. So with that, back to what we studied again, I'll repeat it again. Only for resident individual HUF and firm, excluding LLP, business, any business except 44 AE, agency, construction, commission, broker, sorry. Then not claiming you should not claim 10AA, ATI, etc. It would be applicable only when you have a turnover up to 2 crore in the relevant financial year. Otherwise, 3 crore can also be applicable, can also claim 4480, but they should have the cash receipts only up to 5% of the total receipts. Okay. What would be the profit? 8% of the total turnover, but it can be 6% of those turnover which are realized in non-cash. And uske liye you can see realized in non-cash, yani those who are realized in non-cash up to the date of return filing. अब नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन सबके पास ये आएगा कि मैम इफ वी वांट टू शो मोर प्रॉफिट कैन वी शो मोर प्रॉफिट? यस. सपोज माय टर्नओवर इज से 80 lakhs. ठीक है. आई कैन शो वैसे टेक्निकली 6.4 lakhs should be the profit, right? But I can show more also. I can show 10 lakhs as profit, 11 lakhs as profit after taking 44 AD. There is no restriction. See, government want minimum. This is the minimum profit you say. Because government ने 8%, 6% कैसे निकाला? That in present if you're running business and if you're not even earning 8% as net, then why you are doing business? ठीक है. So उस basis पे they took it. You can earn more than that. It's not necessary that you have to tell if you're earning more than that. It can happen in real life. You are having a net margin of say 15% or 20%. You can still go away good by showing just 8% also. It's not necessary that you have to tell more profit. That is also an option. Just add an option of the assessment. Okay, it's not necessary again. Okay, if you have higher profits, you have to tell them.
Ma'am,
Yes.
is this section on cash basis? We should exclude accrual basis, right? For turnover and for cash received and receivable. Means received in non-cash.
Sorry, come again.
Will be calculation of turnover or this collection. It is on cash basis. I mean to say, accrual basis. If it is receivable yet as on 31st March, we will not consider. Is that so?
6% के लिए. So if it is suppose I had 20 lakhs which were still pending to be received. Okay. So whatever of this is received up to the date of return filing, if received in cash, then 8%. If not received in cash, then 6%. If not received at all, then 8%.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
अभी let me take an example again and it would be more clear. अब इस पॉइंट को ध्यान में रखते रखते लेट्स डू वन एग्जांपल वाला केस. अभी तक व्हाट ऑल बी टॉट उससे क्लियर हो जाएगा. सपोज द टर्नओवर ऑफ द एसएससी इज 200 lakhs, 250 lakhs, 300 lakhs and 350 lakhs. ठीक है. Turnover given to you. Cash receipts here, let's say 20, let's say 15, 12, and let's say 3.5 for the ease of calculation. All of these are in lakhs. ठीक है. अगर मैं परसेंटेज निकालू, percentage of cash receipts to total turnover, this is 10%, this is 6%, this is 4%, and this is 1%, right? अब सबसे first question is whether the SSC is eligible or not. See, whenever the turnover is up to 2 crore, we do not have to see कि presumptive taxation eligible or not. First of all, we have to see that. So whenever the turnover is up to 2 crore, it does not matter whatever is the cash received, it is applicable, right? When the turnover is of more than 2 crore but up to 3 crore, then we have to see first point that cash receipt should not be more than 5%. If it is more than 5%, you are not in an applicable or an eligible SSC situation. Now in this case, presumptive taxation is not applicable. In this case, presumptive taxation is applicable. Why? Because cash receipts are only 4% of the total receipts. In this case, presumptive taxation is not applicable. Even if it is 1%, it is crossing 3 crore. Okay. Now we come to computation of the profit. So if my total receipts of the turnover is 200 and cash receipts is 20, non-cash कितना हो गया? 180, 235, 288 and 346.5. But in any way, this and this are not applicable. Now we move on to calculation of presumptive profit. That is my business income would be 6% of this and 8% of this. So निकालो quickly. Sorry, उल्टा लिख दिया. %8 higher का. 8% of this and 6% of this. So 1.6 plus 10.8. यहाँ पे भी same. यहाँ पे तो आएगा नहीं, sorry. यहाँ पे आएगा 8% and 6%. 0.96 plus 17.28. So this would be my total profits. Who asked the question? Poonam, was it your question? Is it clear? You can make a note of this particular example also. Anila, was it your question? Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay. Vignesh, Poonam, everyone sorted? So benefit one क्या हुआ? Benefit one हुआ that you don't have to go through all those technical analysis from section 30 to your section 43B and all that stuff. Okay. Second thing, benefit क्या हुआ? If you are claiming presumptive taxation, then no audit and no maintenance of books of accounts. I should say no maintenance of books of accounts and no audit. No tax audit and no maintenance of books of accounts. So you are out of that scope. Simply. बट यहाँ पे पूरा प्रोविजन सिंप्लीफाइड है. एक प्रॉब्लम है. देयर इज ओनली वन स्मॉल प्रॉब्लम इन दिस प्रोविजन, दैट इज very critical point. This came almost 4-5 years back, but this point is very critical. And when now this finance minister is asking for simplification of the rules, I think this point should be in the first list at least. Is that very important point? When if you are declaring the profits under 4480, then you have to declare that profits for consecutive 5 successive years. So suppose I'm declaring 4480 for assessment year 25-26, okay? Then 5 consecutive successive years के लिए, if I'm an eligible assessee, I have to declare the profits. That is assessment year 26-27 से लेके 27-28, assessment year 28-29, assessment year 29-30, and assessment year 30-31. Obviously, when I'm the eligible assessor, if turnover is high, that is not the situation. Okay? I have to do it. Now, suppose I declared 4480 as per assessment year 25-26, and I declared assessment year 26-27, maybe this. But now, assessment year 27-28, I did not declare presumptive taxation. I declared the profits which were lower. I want to declare lower profits. I've suffered loss or anything. But the profits which I will be declaring would be lower. The moment I declare lower profits, that is the moment I'm not claiming the 4480 for consecutive 5 assessment years, and the moment I declare the lower profits, what will happen is that for this year and now for the next 5 assessment years, that is from assessment year 28-29 to assessment year 20-32-33, I would not be allowed to claim 4480. That means even if I want to claim, I would not be allowed. There is a lock now. The moment I would not be allowed to claim 4480, my books have to be maintained. Compulsory. And audit is also compulsory, provided my total income exceeds basic exemption limits. So books we now I have to maintain. And audit is also mandatory for how many years? 27, 28, the year in which I did not claim, and the 5 consecutive years. And the 5 consecutive years. Now, this is the problem with 44AD. Earlier, this provision was going on and off smooth and smooth. But people used to do what? People used to do exit entry whenever they wanted. So now they say that if you want to claim 44ADA, claim for this year and for the 5 consecutive years when you're an eligible SSC. If you will not claim, then for that year and for the next 5 consecutive years, you would not be allowed to be claimed. And at the same time, you have to maintain the books of accounts, get the account audited, provided your total income for those years exceeds the basic exemption limit. तो यहाँ पे एक क्लियर आ गया कि ऑडिट मैंडेटरी है under 44AB if you fall under the provisions of 44AD, not following 44AD for 5 consecutive years, then that year and next 5 assessment years, सबके लिए. For all of them, it is mandatory. ठीक है. So this is your section 44AD. बट अगर मैंने 44AD क्लेम ही नहीं किया कभी लाइफ में, सपोज आई हैव अ टर्नओवर ऑफ लेस देन 1 करोड़, ठीक है, और 2 करोड़, और से आई हैव अ टर्नओवर ऑफ 30 lakhs, आई नेवर क्लेम 44AD. मैं डे वन से ही आई एम शोइंग प्रॉफिट्स एज पर द बुक्स एंड बिजनेस प्रॉफिट्स. आई कैन शो इट, आई कैन शो द लॉस ऑल्सो. So many people think that when your turnover is less than 2 crore, you have to show 6%. No, until and unless you opt for 44AD. It's not a compulsory section. Until and unless you opt for 44AD, it's an ease of you section. Until and unless you opt, then you have to keep on opting. But otherwise, if I've never opted 44AD, I can show lower profits. I can show losses also. Right? If I've never opted in my life 44AD, I can show loss and everything. That is okay. उस केस में ऑडिट मैंडेटरी नहीं हो जाएगा. थिंक अबाउट इट प्रैक्टिकली. This is when I enter into the loop of 4480, then you have to see 5 consecutive years वाला चीज off and again. फॉलो भी 5 years करना है, नहीं किया तो नॉट फॉलो भी 5, नॉट एप्लीकेबल भी 5 years के लिए हो जाओगे.
Ma'am, but if they cross, they can't. If they cross the limit, that 5 years is not applicable, right?
Because you are not an eligible SSC. The line says that the eligible SSC has to do so and so stuff. Yes, after that 5 year lock-in period, जब आप पे वो restriction remove हो गया, then you can claim 4480 again. Once you have opt, you have to keep on opting. But suppose I've never opted, I can show lower profits. Only thing is I have to maintain books of accounts. That too, अगर मेरा वो books of accounts वाला condition is getting followed, कि turnover is more than 25 lakhs and gross receipts or your total income is more than 2,50,000, तब वो वाला चीज, ठीक है? So just have
Ma'am,
that
actually,
clarity in mind.
sorry to disturb, ma'am. Ma'am, if first I will be following this, I'll opt this section and I'll be following presumptive in taxation. Then 1 year I'll cross that 2 crore limit, and that it is mandatory that I have to follow normal. I have to maintain the books, everything.
Yes,
But
yes,
next year I'll again fall to below 2 crores. And whether that 5 years lock-in period applicable for that time?
No. Then you can claim it because obviously you were not an eligible SSC for the next year. So how can you claim for that particular period 4480? It's like people who off and on go and come in and come and go. उनके लिए that restriction is there. If generally you're not falling under 4480, how will you claim 4480, right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Sorted? My example here, which I was giving again and again, is that I've never opted in my life 44 AD. Can I show lower profits, or is it compulsory still to show 6% or 8%? I'm saying it is not compulsory 6%, 8%. 6% is 8% is when you opt for it. If you want to show low profit from day one, suppose I've started my business today, and I do not want to claim 44 AD, then no problem. I will just maintain books if required. If required, as per 44 AA, I will maintain the books, and then I can show whatever profit I want, whichever is the real state. And audit would not be mandatory then. Audit would not be mandatory then. Audit is mandatory when I have claimed it and I'm not claiming it for those in any of the 5 years I've claimed, and now I'm not claiming it for that year and for the next 5 years. 44 AD would not be allowed, and audit and books of account maintenance both is important. And this would be compulsory when your total income is exceeding basic exemption limit. Please understand the linkage between all of them. Next, on the same lines, but an easier one, is 44 ADA, another presumptive section. Forty-four ADA. Just like AD is for business, ADA is for profession. Just like AD is for business, ADA is for profession, but again, only specified professions. Specified and notified professions. वही जिनके लिए रूल 6F वाली चीज आती है ना, वो वाला specified professions. So not all professions can claim 44 ADA, only specified professions can claim 44 ADA. And उसका वही list legal, medical engineering, accountancy, CS, architect, interior decorator, IT, film artist, company secretary I told, and authorized representative, technical consultancy. ठीक है? Only those people can claim 44 ADA, as they would fall under the list of specified profession. A profession may, it is natural that your profits are higher than compared to business, because business has a lot of expenditures, lot of capital investments. Professions do not have those daily expenditures and overheads, and do not have those capital expenditures also. So just like there, here also the same threshold limits, SSCs and profit limit is there. Let's see one by one. सबसे पहले profession is clear. What is the eligible profession? Clear. Who would be allowed? Same. Resident, individual, HUF, and firm would be allowed, other than LLP. Okay. Gross receipts up to 50 lakhs. Then only in the relevant assessment year or the relevant previous year. Then only you would be allowed 44 ADA. If your gross receipts are more than 50 lakhs, you would not be allowed. But again, a change came in the last financial year that gross receipts up to 75 lakhs wala can also claim 44 ADA, provided their cash receipts is up to 5% of total receipts. Their cash receipts are up to 5% of the total receipt, then 44 ADA can be claimed even with the turnover or even with the gross receipts of 75 lakhs. Whenever you're using the term 44 ADA, please stick to gross receipts. When you're using 44 AD, you can use turnover and gross receipts both, or you should do both. Okay? So business के case में both terms can be used, but profession के case में only gross receipt is used. And यहाँ पे presumptive profit is directly 50%. Presumptive profit is, that is the final profit of business income, is directly 50%. So if you have 50 lakhs received, 25 lakhs is your profit. If you have, say, 60 lakhs received, 30 lakhs is your profit. Can higher profit be shown? Yes, no problem. Can lower profit be shown? Yes, but Yes, but then what is to be done? Audit plus books plus audit has to be maintained. Because otherwise, if you're claiming presumptive taxation, audit and books are not mandatory. Okay? But if you are not claiming presumptive taxation and you want to show lower profits, then books plus audit is mandatory, provided your total income is more than basic exemption limit. अब यहाँ पे there is no पंगा of 5 years. यहाँ पे it is kept simple. यहाँ पे yes है, यहाँ पे भी audit provided है, total income is more than basic exemption limit, तब ही होगा. अगर मेरी income is less than basic exemption limit and I want to show lower profits, then I can show lower profits and audit and books of accounts maintenance would not be required. But if my income is more than basic exemption limit and I want to show lower profits, then or books of accounts and audit both are required. Now, some of the common points which are there in both 44AD and ADA, some which come in your mind, first of all, please listen carefully. These are all the common points applicable both to 44AD and 44ADA. First is that all deductions which we are talking about are assumed to be given when you are taking presumptive profits. Okay? All deductions from section 30 to 38 are assumed allowed. क्योंकि वो 6% 8% वाली लिमिट में ही आ गया. So फिर से you will not give any deduction from 30 to 38. Presumptive taxation means the final amount. Similarly, if all deductions are already assumed to be taken, no disallowances would also be considered. So वो 43B का disallowance और 40A3 का disallowance और TDS काटने का disallowance, nothing would be considered. But you have to maintain a WDV chart. You have to maintain a WDV chart based on notional depreciation. मतलब आप every year उस chart में depreciation अला के you will come to the fresh written down value. Yes, you will not claim that depreciation anywhere, but you have to maintain that chart. Why? Because after certain years of business, when you will be coming out of your or if your turnover exceeds and now you're not no more taking 44AD or 44ADA, then you should have that WDV chart ready ना, because उस साल से अगर depreciation मिलेगी तो that would be given on the written down values which would have come over the years. ठीक है? So WDV chart has to be maintained and depreciation has to be given, but it is not to be claimed. Okay? Notional depreciation I'm writing here, assuming that what depreciation would have been allowed if 44AD would not have been taken or presumptive taxation would not have been taken. ठीक है? Then what is benefit? Yeah. पार्टनर्स के केस में अच्छा यहाँ पे बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट वाला पॉइंट अगेन एंड अगेन आई एम सेइंग पार्टनर्स का तो बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट वाला कुछ फर्म का तो देयर इज नो बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट राइट सो फर्म्स के लिए दे आर शोइंग लोअर प्रॉफिट्स दे हैव टू मेंटेन बुक्स एंड दे हैव टू गेट ऑडिट हाँ now from the firm case also one more thing what about salary remuneration salary remuneration of partners, will that be allowed? No. Since we say that every expenditure is assumed to be allowed, so we will not even consider salary remuneration or salary remuneration or any other name given to partners. Okay, not even interest on capital, nothing. Then इसमें एक और benefit मिलता है when you are following 44AD and ADA. Generally, you have to deposit your advance tax in 4 installments. Here only due date is 15th March. 15th March तक आपको सारा advance tax deposit करना है. That is 100% of your advance tax liability has to be deposited. Here you don't have to go every quarter determining 15, 45, 75 and so and so. You just have to deposit the advance tax in one single installment, that is by 15th March. एंड किसी ने मुझे बोला था मैम चैप्टर 6 की डिडक्शंस मिलेंगी Chapter 6A, which is your gross deductions, will that be allowed? Yes, that would be definitely be allowed. Because this is about presumptive income. This is about presumptive income of how to compute your PGBP income. We are not talking about total income, right? You may have other incomes also. So we are not saying if from that presumptive income you will not be allowed Chapter 6A deduction. Chapter 6A deductions are definitely allowed. There is no restriction on that. Now take 2 minutes and quickly go through this table which is there on your screen and also in your books if you have. And tell me if you have any doubt in 44 AD and ADA. I'll take 2 minutes ka pause. Don't worry. First, go through it clearly. Thank you, Ginny. एक बारी go through करो ताकि points clearly बैठ जाए. First of all, you have to see the turnover, then you will see the cash receipts. Then for the eligibility of higher turnover of 300 lakhs and 75 lakhs, once that is sorted, then you will see 6%, 8%. Usme you will divide cash receipts and non-cash receipts. No such thing in 44 AD. If lower income wala case, then you again have to see basic limit se zyada income hai ya nahi hai. This is how you will go ahead. If that is clear, let's move on to illustration 18. Read it once and then I'll read it for you. Okay, so let's read this question for you. Mr. Praveen engaged in retail trade. Retail trade highlight. Why I am highlighting these things? This is what you have to clear in your exam also. Reports a turnover of 298.50, like 2 crore 98 lakhs 50,000 for the financial year 24-25. Amount received in cash 14 lakhs and balance through electronic modes on or before 31st July. His income from the said business as per the books of account is 15 lakhs computed as per the provisions of the chapter 4D. Retail trade is the only source of income for the first year of which he has declared his business income in accordance with the presumptive taxation under section 44 AD. Was the last year? Yeah, for the last assessment year, he declared the income as per 44 AD. Now you have to say, is Mr. Praveen also eligible for presumptive determination for the assessment year 25-26, that is for the previous year 24-25? So simply, since his total cash receipts are less than 5% of the total of the 298.50, then he can claim the presumptive taxation scheme, because then in that case the threshold limit is 3 crore. Okay. Then next question is, if he determines his income from retail trade, as if so, what is his income from PGBP taking presumptive taxation? So simply 14 lakhs ka 8% and 17 lakhs, sorry, 1 crore कितने, sorry, 298.50. 2 crore 84 lakh 50,000 ka 6%. So that would come to, quickly, that would come to quickly friends, कितना आएगा? Should I do it? I'm waiting. Everyone is sleeping. क्या? Thank you for calculation. 17.7 नहीं, 17.7 plus 1,12,000. Total 18,19,000. Okay. Now, next question is, in case Mr. Praveen wants to declare profit as per books of accounts from retail trade, what are his obligations? So you will say, if he wants to declare the book profit as per retail trade, he can declare it, but at the same time, he has to maintain books of accounts and he has to get audit done, provided his income, total income, that is the final income after all gross reduction, etc., exceeds basic exemption limit. And also, if he does so, then for the next 5 years, he cannot claim 44 AD. What is the due date of filing his return under both the options? If the due date of filing of return would be 31st July, if he's doing as per the presumptive taxation, if he's not going as per the presumptive taxation, then tax audit is there, then the result, the date is 31st October. ठीक है, ऐसे क्वेश्चंस आएंगे, इजी है अगर कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर होगा. These are very easy scorer marks. Next scheme which we now come on to is your 44AE. This scheme is for SSE. Is for SSE. यहाँ पे resident, non-resident नहीं है. Basically, this is for both resident and non-resident. Is for SSE who is into the business of goods transport agency. That is, who is into the business of transportation of carriage of passengers or goods. उनके लिए this particular, not passengers, sorry, carriage of goods. उनके लिए this particular scheme is there. अभी क्यों स्कीम आया? Because naturally they wanted to lower the burden of compliances on transporters, and if they will calculate the income based on presumptive taxation, it becomes easy, and then since they're taking presumptive taxation, they do not have to maintain the books of accounts. Question 1 is, who can opt for the scheme? Any person can opt for the scheme, even that transport agency is registered as company, incorporated as company, they can also do this. Who is into the business of plying, hiring, or leasing of goods carriages, but at the same time does not own more than 10 goods carriages, that is 10 trucks for you to understand. You will not write truck. In your exam, you will write carriages only, okay? At any time during the previous year. अभी at any time during the previous year मतलब 10 से ज्यादा कभी नहीं होना. I can have at the beginning of the year 6 trucks. Then I purchased 5 more, makes it 11, and then I sold 2, makes it 9. Will I be eligible? No, because at certain time during the previous year, I had more than 10 trucks. If I would have sold 2 first and then purchased 5 later, then I would have been eligible. But since I purchased 5 and then I sold 2, so at a particular time I was into ownership of more than 10 trucks, so I would not be eligible for 44 AE. Okay. Second thing, that suppose you will not say that if an asset is taken on hire purchase or it's on loan and still installment is due, it is not owned. It would be considered as owned. Someone asked, ma'am, JCB is to be considered as this good trucks or no? JCB is not for carriage of goods, etc. It's just for heavy lifting and other stuff. So JCB is out from goods carriage and income. Goods carriage wala 44 AE. Okay. Next is eligible SSC clear, eligible business clear. What is threshold limit? Nahi hai. Threshold limit is just the truck. Now, next question which will come in your mind is what is the presumptive income? Let's come straight to the point. Now, presumptive income is based on two parts. Based on two parts, I can have heavy vehicles. I can have heavy vehicles and I can have light vehicles. ठीक है. अब heavy vehicles जो होंगी या other than heavy vehicles होंगी, how would I define heavy vehicles and light vehicles? So heavy vehicle is someone जिसका capacity is more than 12,000 kilograms. And 1,000 kilogram is 1 ton. This is basic measurements, okay? More than 12,000 kilograms, वो heavy vehicle होगा. जो less than 12,000 kilograms होगा, जिसका weight carrying capacity, that is light vehicle. Then this is more than 12,000, this is less than 12,000. What is the presumptive taxation for every heavy vehicle per month? You will assume that you are getting 1,000 per ton per month for every vehicle. So, yani, suppose the vehicle weight is 15,000 kg, so 1,000 into 15, क्योंकि 1,000 kgs per ton, ठीक है? Into number of months you have owned that particular vehicle, ठीक है? और लाइट व्हीकल के लिए इट इज सिंपल. लाइट व्हीकल के लिए यू डोंट हैव टू अप्लाई लॉट ऑफ ब्रेन. लाइट व्हीकल के लिए इट इज सिंपल 7,500 पर मंथ. तो यहाँ पे पर मंथ से पहले पर टन भी है. सो पर टन पर मंथ फॉर हेवी एंड 7,500 per month. Part of the month has to be considered as full month. तो अगर आपके पास वो महीने में 10 दिन है तो still also you will take 7,500 per month as a presumptive income. This is your presumptive income. SSC clear, business obviously clear, and presumptive income clear. Again, the question comes, higher profits can I show? Yes, you can show higher profits. Higher profits के लिए there is no doubt that you cannot show. Lower profits can I show? Lower profits show करना पड़ेगा. Then you have to maintain books of accounts and then you have to get audit. Low profit इस value से नीचे अगर दिखाओगे, you have to maintain books of accounts and audit. यहाँ पे basic exemption limit वाला point नहीं है. Your total income should exceed basic exemption limit, then only you will get audits. No. So higher, yes. Lower, yes, but books and audit. So this is easier. 4480 में lower, yes, 5 years wala condition is there. Plus basic exemption limit should be more, total income should be more than basic exemption limit, then books and audit. 4480A में 5 years वाला limit is not there, but basic exemption limit should be more than, total income should be more than basic exemption limit, then books and audit. 44AE में lower के लिए books and audit mandatory, no basic exemption limit to be checked. Okay? Simple. Any doubt? बाकी पॉइंट्स सेम है एक्सेप्ट फ्यू. इसमें भी सेम. All deductions presumed to be given. No disallowances. But in other situations, you saw, I told that partner remuneration would not be allowed. But here, this is only one such section which allows partner remuneration as per 40B limits. मतलब यहाँ पे partner remuneration extra deductible है. So whatever profits I compute, and if you're computing it for a firm, good transport agency, then partner remuneration would be allowed as per the limits of 40B and partnership T2. Advance tax यहाँ पे नहीं है one installment. Here you have to deposit in 4 installments. That's it. This is about 44AE. यहाँ पे कैश रिसीट्स नॉन कैश का कुछ नहीं है बिकॉज ट्रांसपोर्ट एजेंसी में जनरली वी हैव सीन दैट पीपल गेट कैश रिसीट्स मोर. दैट्स व्हाई इवन व्हेन यू आर मेकिंग पेमेंट टू अ गुड ट्रांसपोर्ट एजेंसी, that time also the cash limit under section 40A subsection 3 is increased from 10 to 35. So यहाँ पे cash receipts का nothing is there. So सबसे ज्यादा technical is 44AD, then 44ADA, and then 44AE is the simplest. This brings to us another question which is on your screen. Let's do it. X commences business of operating goods and vehicles on 1st April 24. He purchased the following vehicles. Computers income under 44AE for assessment year 25-26. Would your answer बाद में आएंगे. First, let's classify them as lightweight and heavyweight. This is lightweight. इसमें दिख sorry. This is lightweight. Paper में lightweight मत लिखना, other than heavyweight लिखना, okay? Because they have used the word other than heavyweight. I'm just writing it for the easiest of it. Lightweight. ठीक है? Then lightweight again. Then lightweight and heavyweight. Heavyweight. ठीक है? अब नंबर 2, डेट ऑफ परचेज 10th अप्रैल, यानी ये पूरे 12 मंथ्स के लिए है. एक ही मशीनरी, एक ही व्हीकल है, बट डेट ऑफ परचेज इज 15th मार्च. दिस वाज देयर फॉर 1 मंथ. दिस इज देयर फॉर अप्रैल में, जून में नहीं थी, 9 मंथ्स. दिस इज हियर फॉर 3 मंथ्स एंड दिस इज फॉर 8 months and this is for 2 months. ठीक है? अब एक बारी मैंने ये क्लियरली लिख लिया. नाउ द कैलकुलेशन इज वेरी इजी. दिस वुड बी फॉर 7500 इंटू 2. 2 व्हीकल्स है, या इसको ऐसे करते हैं और इजी करते हैं. 7500 पर मंथ फॉर 12 months इंटू 2 व्हीकल्स है. ठीक है? फिर यहाँ पे 7500 एक व्हीकल एक मंथ के लिए. ठीक है? देन 7500 इंटू 9 months, how many vehicles? 3 vehicles. Then 7500 into 3 months के लिए एक व्हीकल. ठीक है? और हाँ, नंबर भी काउंट कर लेना, मैंने नंबर नहीं काउंट किया. 2 + 1 3, 3 + 3 6, 9 and 10. ठीक है? देन हेवी व्हीकल्स पे आ जाते हैं. हेवी व्हीकल्स के लिए वी हैव 1000 पर टन, यानी 1000 into 15 per number of months 8 and how many? 2. ठीक है? Then again 1000 per ton 15 per number of months. How many? Just 1. Now the total of this would be my presumptive income. Please calculate it. Vignesh, superb, very fast. This calculated? Very good. Okay. Abhi, I have written it like this for you to understand. एक बारी आप pro हो जाओगे, you will become pro. We will calculate how it is written in the book also. Okay. Now, the question says, would your answer change if two good vehicles were purchased in April 24 were put to use only in July 24? Depreciation definitely can change, but presumptive taxation may, it's not written put to use. And till the time it is not written put to use, we do not have to confuse. We have to see ownership. Ownership is there, and hence ownership is there. You have to show the income out of it. और ऐसा भी आ सकता है क्वेश्चन में कि it is on hire purchase yet last installment is yet to be paid, will your answer change? Then you will also say no, the answer will not change. So all the schemes of presumptive taxation clear. Why did I do presumptive taxation before tax audit? I'll come to it now, don't worry. चलिए आगे ममता, yes, no, Anila, all clear, Vignesh, all clear, perfect. So I hope no one will get confused when it comes to 44 AD. अच्छा एक किसी ने मुझसे पूछा नहीं, वैसे next class में I'll pick it up, दो speculation business में 44 AD can be claimed. Think about it. This I leave it to you. I know speculation business I have not taught, but this is like question of food for thought. Just think about it, and next class we will discuss. So suppose SSE has one business, one profession, Vignesh, or one retail and one truck. Anyway, this question will come into your mind, and Vignesh has asked a very valid question. For each business, you have to see the turnovers separately. Each business, each profession, it can happen. Vignesh, SSE has profession also, has business also, has different businesses also, has one business and one good transport agency business also, has one business and one tax audit business also. So turnover of each of them has to be separately seen, and each business have to be considered separately for the profit computation. Okay. All the combinations can sit. Now we come to tada, the highlight of the class, 44 AB, audit of accounts of certain persons carrying on business or profession, tax audit. Now tax audit क्यों mandatory है? इसको हम commonly tax audit कहते हैं. But why tax audit is mandatory? Compulsory audit of books of accounts is mandatory so that we can see that all the provisions in relation to income tax are followed. Number one, obviously, but you know that the computation of profits, ultimately depend upon the book profits. So, एक assurity ये भी होना चाहिए that the book profits are also true and fair, right? If the book profits are already malified or already misbehaved with, so then tax profits can also be at question. So, income tax has made audit compulsory for certain assessees, not everyone, for certain assessees based on their turnover and based on their gross receipts. So, first of all, first thing that if the assessee who's into specified business profession who's into specified business profession. Specified business wala, वही same. Those 11 notified professions or specified professions, they have to have the turnover, they have to have the tax audit if their gross receipts exceed 50 lakhs. If their gross receipts exceed 50 lakhs. Now related to 44 ADA, that if gross receipts are 50 lakhs but are up to 75 lakhs, still they can take 44 ADA, right? So agar they are falling into that 75 lakhs wala cheese, provided they're 44 ADA because it is written there. If you're claiming 44 ADA, then books maintaining is not mandatory, tax audit is not mandatory. So even if the turnover here says 50 lakhs, there if you are claiming it because of your turnover of 60 or 70 lakhs of and your cash receipts up to 5%, then you're out of 44 AD. So वो relatability साथ साथ लाना, ठीक है? So this is the general limit which they have given. Gross receipts more than 50 lakhs, specified business have to get accounts audited. Then businesses, if their turnover or gross receipt is more than 1 crore. यहाँ पे 2 crore नहीं किया, यहाँ पे already we have told them, but they have not done any difference here. So if the gross receipts are more than 1 crore, tax audit is mandatory. But आप बोलोगे कि 2 crore का 44 AD है, हाँ, अगर if you are claiming 44 AD, then tax audit से you are out of the scope. But interestingly, they have made this 1 crore ka limit 10 crore ka limit. Limit increased to 10 crore if during the year, instead of 1 crore, if during the year your cash receipts is up to 10%, 5% of total receipts, and your cash payments both is up to 5% of total payments. So वहां पे increased turnover का benefit है in 44 AD. When for that you have to only see cash receipts, then 2 crore ka threshold limits become 3 crore ka. 44 AD में increased gross receipts the benefit is there, 50 lakhs to 75 lakhs happen. There also you only have to see cash receipts. But यहाँ पे overall the game is different. My limit increases to 10 crore if my cash receipts is up to 5% of total receipts, and at the same time my aggregate cash payment is up to 50%, and दोनों conditions देखने हैं, is up to 5% of the total payments. अब वही कैश का मतलब है यहाँ पे कैश, बेरर, क्रॉस चेक्स, एंड नॉन कैश इज अकाउंट पे चेक, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्लियरिंग सिस्टम्स, प्रिस्क्राइब्ड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मोड्स. स्पेसिफाइड बिजनेस के लिखा मैंने, स्पेसिफाइड, इसे इनफैक्ट स्पेसिफाइड भी नहीं थे, नॉन, इसे बेसिक ही रहने दो, प्रोफेशन रहने दो. वो मैंने यहाँ पे स्पेसिफाइड प्रोफेशन इसे लिखा था so that I could relate it to 44 ADA. But general profession के लिए gross receipts 50 lakhs, business के लिए turnover gross receipts 1 crore. अब इसमें से अगर specified profession, if you're into specified profession and your receipts are up to 50 lakhs, then you don't have to go for 40. Then so anyway you're not applicable. But if you're into specified profession and your gross receipts are more than 50 but up to 75, and you're claiming 44 ADA, then also you will not fall here. But if you want to show lower profits and in that year your total income is exceeding basic exemption limit, then tax audit would be applicable. वो जो अब वहां पे समझाया था ना, if you will show lower profits, tax audit would be applicable. Those sections are applicable here. ठीक है? I will not repeat them again because that is already covered. 44 AD में 5 years तक consecutively वाला, and books of accounts and maintenance of books of accounts and tax audit for that year in which you don't follow, and 5 next years. Tax audit would be applicable provided your total income is more than basic exemption limit. Then for 4480A, if you want to show low profits and at the same time, sorry, your total income is more than basic exemption limit, then audit is mandatory. And 44AMA, if you want to show low profits, audit is mandatory. These are the general part. So suppose my turnover is 7 crores. Okay? Then I have to maintain books, obviously, but audit is not mandatory, and I cannot take 44AD because obviously the turnover is 7 crores. Audit is not mandatory provided my cash receipts are up to 5% and cash payments are up to 5% of the total receipts and total payments. Sorted? कहीं पे कोई confusion? अब now you can relate into 44ADA, AD, 44AE and general limits. So special case, these are the general cases, and not following 44AD, ADA and 44AE are the special cases. ठीक है? If you will not follow the provisions of tax audit, then penalty is there under section 271B, which is 0.5% of the total turnover or gross receipts, or 1,50,000, whichever is lower. So minimum 150 तो है ये, whichever is lower. ठीक है, highest सबसे ज्यादा 150 ही maximum जाएगा. If you will not maintain books of accounts, then also there is a penalty, I think, which we skipped, that is a penalty of 271 AMA, 25,000 if books of accounts are not maintained. Okay. Now, audit report, audit कौन करेगा? Obviously, CA would do the audit, not me as a CA, because I'm not a practicing CA. Only the practicing CA would do the audit. They are only allowed to do the audit, and they have to do the audit as per the audit form. Sorry. Which is your form 3CA and 3CD. 3CD is the annexure, जहाँ पे सारा details जाता है. 3CA is basically when you are required to be audited under any other law. 3CB if you are not required to be audited under any law. So individual का generally 3CB and 3CD जाता है. If you can remember the form, very good. If you are not able to remember the form, no problem. Last point, which is very important here, is that if you are required to be audited under any other act, suppose I am a company SSA. Company SSA के लिए company audit is mandatory जहाँ पे. So then with the audit, with the tax audit, the audit report would also go as an annexure. ठीक है? With the tax audit, the audit report would also go. But if you are an SSE who is not required to be audited under any other law, then the tax auditor has to comment upon the true and fair position of the financial statements. Okay? Before they go ahead. If you're there, then you have to attach the audit report. अगर कोई और audit हो रहा है, if not, then you have to comment upon the true and fair view of the financial statements. Simple. What is the due date of tax audit? It is 1 month before the return filing due date. So when the assessor's return filing due date is 31st October, tax audit date is 30th September. When assessor का return filing date is 30th November, which is for TPs, जो transfer pricing में होते हैं, then tax audit date is 31st October. I know all the who are all into practice, you students who are into articleship, I'm wondering how you have been given chutti at this time to study, because definitely it's a critical period. It's a return filing period. It's a tedious filing period. It's TP audit period. So a lot of due dates are falling on 31st October, right? Hats off to all of you who are attending it along with their articleship right now. So penal provisions also clear. Now, since 44 AD, ADA and AE are pretty sorted, 44 AB understanding becomes simple. अब मैं AB में ही सबसे पहले वो all conditions बताती, I think that would have been a critical aspect, right? But now I think you're able to understand completely 44 AB in an easy manner, right? किसी को कोई doubt अभी तक? Because this is it. Specified profession के लिए कौन, business के लिए कौन, then if 44 AD is applicable lowering profits, if 44 AD is applicable lower profits में, but basic exemption limit वाला point should be completed, 44 AE, and in fact there is 44 BB, 44 triple B, उनके लिए if you have to show lower profits, audit is mandatory, penalty is done, due date is done, and audit under any other law. बस ये points हैं इसमें, and we are good to go. Acha, can some does it came in any of your mind that can we revise audit reports? Can we revise tax audit report? Think. In some circumstances, ma'am, Mamta says no. Okay. Yes, we can revise the tax audit reports, but it is strictly not that SAE anyone revises it. It would be in question. Honestly, this is true. You can revise the audit report. It's nowhere written in the income tax. If you see that you cannot revise the audit report. But yes, there is a guidance note on tax audit which comes through ICAI every year. ठीक है, वहां पे they have clearly written that normally it should not be revised. It should be prohibited from revising. I'll not use the word prohibited, but normally it should not be revised. But suppose the accounts gets revised after adoption in AGM, or is there any retrospective change in law, or is there any change in judgment or case laws, CBDT circular, some clarification comes. Those are genuine situations. In that case, you can revise the audit report. ठीक है, so yes you can, but not ऐसे ही कि एक omission हो गया तो कर देते हैं generally. अभी तो you do what the study material says, but to all, for you to be a better professional, read those guidance notes on tax audit which ICAI comes with. This will also help you a lot in lot of situations. Done. All thing done. Yeah. So this is it from me for today's class. Yes, speculation transactions is there, which I can take it up now, but I wanted to do with a fresh mind and ICDS. So next class, may students please come prepared doing all the questions. You want to do one question in or two questions or three questions in the class, we will do it. You want to pick up any previous year paper in the class, we'll do it. You want to discuss any case law in the class, we'll do it. Because for the next class, I would come prepared for the half of the class in the sense of the material which I want to teach. Then we'll be finishing it up. We have done the revisions also for the each topic together. Today's class maybe also we picked up first the revision of all the sections which we have done. Okay, so next class may more than me, you have to come up with the material. Ki, ma'am, please explain this. Be after me, okay? Please take this question. Please take this question. थोड़े से provisions regarding to minerals and oil, etc. I have left. If you will want me to do that also, I will do that also. Otherwise, speculation business and ICDS, that is only left. Why I'm not picking up today? Because एक बारी इस पे भी grip कर लो. We have picked up topics in a way in all these 4 classes so that you grip it up, then we move to next. You grip it up, then we move to next. So this is it from my side. If you have any doubts from any of these provisions which we have done, please let me know. Speculation transactions, when we pick it up, we'll do some FAQs, like whether tax audit, how would you calculate the turnover when speculation transaction comes? I said it's not there in the book, but just for your extra information. अगर कोई F&O trading करता है, उसके लिए tax audit mandatory है या नहीं? Okay, all of these things. But उसको समझने के लिए, you have to have an understanding that what is speculative transactions. But Vignesh question, which was very good in today's class, was if, ma'am, I have 2 different business, then how things would apply. Similarly, if I have one business and one profession, then for each business, I have to see the limits accordingly. For each profession, I have to see the limits accordingly. But 1 second. But on back to the Vignesh question, I remember reading the tax audit guidance note, जहाँ पे लिखा था for the clarification purpose. I'll read that again and maybe I can bring that extract of it. वहाँ पे question था that a person was having a turnover of 1.5 crores and he was having a gross receipt from profession of 40 lakhs. So they said that since the guidance note was written that if the assessee is carrying on business, both business and profession, and the tax audit is required if turnover of the business, either from the business or profession, exceeds the threshold limit, then in that case, the other one will also be audited irrespective of the amount of the threshold limit. So, matlab, if you are having business and profession, and if the business limit exceeds, tax audit is mandatory for business, then profession ke liye bhi it was mandatory. But this was an ICAI guidance note. This can be challenged and asked and clarified can also be clarification can also be taken. Okay? Apart from the students, now I think all in all, everything can be done, every question can be done. And trust me, I would be waiting for you people to ask queries back to back in the next class. So please don't lose this opportunity. We'll be having good 1.5 hours. I'll also come with certain MCQs and stuff ready so that you can practice it, solve it. But at the same time, I want you to come up with your questions also. Okay? So next class, mein calculator ready. Readiness to do the question ready. Okay? And thank you so much, Ginny, for your very, very kind words. Perfect. So, shall we wrap up then? Great. And I see Ginny do the homework, and I hope everyone else is also doing it. I really want you to wrap up this chapter over the weekend, except ICDS and kindness notes. So when I say wrap up the chapter, that means read everything, do the illustrations, make your notes, make your green flags ready that these points have to be taken up. Study the case law, do the test your knowledge. See, if you're wrapping up a chapter, wrap it up in all aspects. And do the RTP also. Thank you so much, everyone. You guys are always a great audience. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes, yes. Thank you. Good night.